Well, let's turn now to the Federal Reserve. Just today, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke announced another round of quantitative easing to help the sluggish U.S. economy. Take a look at what he had to say.
Accordingly, the FOMC decided today on new actions, electing to expand its purchases of securities and extend its forward guidance regarding the federal funds rate. The committee will closely monitor incoming information on economic and financial developments in coming months. And if we do not see substantial improvement in the outlook for the labor market, we will continue the MBS purchase program, undertake additional asset purchases, and employ our policy tools as appropriate until we do.
Interesting. Well, to help us figure out what he just said and what it all means, joining me now is the host of Capital Account right here on RT, Lauren Lister.
Hi,
Hello.
Abby. Nice to be on your show.
Thank you so much.
Fun. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, so I think when a lot of people look at the Federal Reserve, they don't understand that it's actually a private bank. So when Ben Bernanke is talking about this quantitative easing, it's going to stimulate the economy. What agency is really going to be allocating this money that they're going to be pumping out?
Yeah, there are a lot of confusions about the Fed. I would agree. I get confused. It's very complex because the Federal Reserve was established by an act of Congress, the Federal Reserve Act. And in fact, if you go to the New York Fed's website, for example, it'll say it's an independent government entity, but it's complicated because the Federal Reserve has banks across the country in 12 different districts where they have presidents, and when the act established these banks in the Federal Reserve Act, they issued stock, so they have private shareholders. They have boards of directors. So, for example, on the New York Fed's board sits Jamie Dimon, the president of JP Morgan. So that's where the confusion is, because there's this private element to it. There's shareholders, there's boards of directors for these Federal Reserve banks, and then their presidents rotate on the FOMC, which is the open market committee that determines open market operations like QE. And then the Federal Reserve governors are appointed by the President of the United States, sworn in by Congress. The Fed issues the currency, the Federal Reserve notes, decides monetary policy. So it is this weird kind of public-private weirdness. As far as who controls monetary policy, the Federal Reserve does. So they will, they announced QE. That means that they will go buy mortgage-backed securities in this case on the open market. And who decides where that money goes that they're exchanging those for? Because the mortgage-backed securities go on the Fed's balance sheet. The Fed exchanges that for money, which it prints. So this is a fancy way of saying printing money. Where that money goes, nobody knows, because it's up to the banking system and the financial markets where it goes, and it can go in different places. It can go in stocks, it can go in commodities. The theory behind QE and printing money, it's supposed to expand credit, get it out to the real economy, to people, but I mean, we've seen a few rounds of it, and we know credit conditions in this country.
But third time's a charm, Lauren. I mean, this is...
Yeah, if it didn't work the first time or the second time, maybe if you keep trying, you'll get unemployment below 8% like you want it.
Let's hope. But I mean, seriously, he's talking about helping the economy. Yeah, the economy is in a really poor state right now, but how is printing money backed by, essentially nothing, is that not going to debase the currency even more and essentially, put the economy in a worse state than it is?
You're asking all the right questions, because you should care that your currency is being debased. Yes, when you print money, when you put more out there into the market, that is inflationary. That debases the currency. That affects your purchasing power. That affects your ability to save when interest rates are so low. You can't get anything for your money, and the prices that you pay for things are going up or could go up more. So these are all concerns, and yet the theory behind it is that by doing this, in Ben Bernanke's case with these mortgage-backed securities, he hopes to boost the prices of assets such as homes, home prices, boost mortgages, boost stocks, asset prices, so that will make people feel richer. They will go out and spend money. That will fuel demand, that will increase growth, and people will hire more people if the economy is growing better. But this gets to a really key discussion, which is whether the job problems in the United States are cyclical, which is a fancy way of saying if the economy improves, there will be more jobs created with that improvement, or if they're structural, meaning, Abby, I worked in construction, and construction's not coming back, so I need to retrain for something else, and I'm not properly qualified for the jobs that are available or coming available, which is a totally different issue. And no amount of money printing can solve that. And so but at the same time, that Fed's balance sheet is going to be that much bigger to the tune
of... Well, haven't we? Yeah, we've seen time and time again that, when the rich hoard their wealth, they don't necessarily let it trickle down into the economy and bolster the economy, which is really the rhetoric that we're seeing coming from Bernanke. But we're going to have to wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Capitol Counsel Lauren Lister.